I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today my guest is Jamie Pfeffer with Pfeffer Torode Architects. We'll be back to talk with him after this.
Talkapolis programming is sponsored in part by the Center for Advanced Dentistry, now serving the greater Nashville area.
Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Delighted to have you here. So you guys, as I understand it, are more than just architects kind of designing house by house. You're really into community planning and development planning and sort of the new urban kind of planning. Is that correct?
That is correct. I think our design firm, we try to be a multidiscipline, multifaceted design firm. We're a boutique architecture firm. We do both residential and commercial. We do small scale and large scale, but the core of our work is always going to be craft-based, design-based, hopefully thoughtful designs, and our clients and our people who are going to seek that type of service and that type of product.
So what are some of the trends that you're seeing happening, particularly, not just here in Nashville, but across the country? Where are we going to be living in 10 or 15 years?
We really believe strongly we're on the precipice of a paradigm shift in our landscape, and at least how we live and how we live together in community and cities and those environments. And we think that the last books I've read recently would be Into the Suburbs and Creative Class and
Right.
things that are talking about a shift in the way people live, work, and play, and the way they want their built environment to support that type of lifestyle. So, we really believe strongly that people are going to live ever increasingly in the urban core, and their lifestyles and expectations are going to, and their built environment is going to want to respond to that.
So is that sort of a hope on your part, or are there some tangible trends, some things happening that are convincing you that's kind of where people's heads are moving?
I mean, we think it's a hope and a fact, and I think that's really critical for us when we look at the demographics and the things we study. I have several diagrams that we've studied and used as jumping off points for our designs and our visions. But when you look at the heat index, what we call the heat index for residential property sales in Davidson County, what you'll see is that the red hot glowing part of that is inside the urban core, and the closer to the downtown center, the hotter that residential trend is. Well, we also find when
areas like the Gulch and some of those kinds of places.
The Gulch, East Nashville, Germantown, historic West Town, Sylvan Park.
Exploded.
Inside the existing infrastructure, inside of the urban core.
And what's causing it? As someone who kind of thinks of things from an entrepreneur's perspective, I always look for trends, and there's always kind of a root cause of something that leads to these kinds of trends. What do you think is behind that?
Well, I think that what we have is, I'm fascinated by generational dynamics and sort of things that are happening on a cultural scale. And, I think what's really happening is, the way I describe it, at least to my team, and we talk about it, is our clients may not be looking for the backyard, it's the park they're close to. They may not be looking for the dining room, but it's the farm-to-table restaurant that's in their community. It's not about having all of the things inside of your house, it's about the things that are close to and around you. And so we find that whether it's the millennials or the boomers or any generational in between, there's an increasing demand for, they want to spend less time in commute, more time engaging in their work lives, their social lives, their civic lives, their volunteer lives, and their play lives, and all of those things factor together.
So do you look a little bit at the past in some of these things too? Is that something that you pay attention to, or are you looking mostly forward?
Well, I think it's, I think you try to answer those questions with yes, and of course it depends, but I don't think it's any coincidence that a number of those neighborhoods happen inside of in close proximity to, or literally in, historic neighborhoods, or neighborhoods that have the historic built fabric, because the way we used to live in many ways is the way we're returning to live, and
Right.
and so I think that I don't think it's coincidental that we are finding that this is happening inside of the urban core and inside of the historic core as well.
So as a business owner, and you've got your architectural firm, and you've got a second business as well?
That's correct. I'm also a partner with Invent Communities, which is an urban infill development vision that uses hopefully thoughtful design and construction to create cluster communities that positively impact the lives of the people who live, work, and play.
So
in
you're
those
not just
surrounding
designing
areas.
the houses, you're designing the communities those houses are going to be put within?
That's true. I mean, I think what we try to think about it is we think about it from the neighborhood community scale. We're not, we try to work with the planning department, the civic leaders, the stakeholders, the communities, and those kind of things. So we're not a community, we're not an urban design lab, or we're not a community scale designer, but we do think about the way those houses interact with their street, the way they respond to the context, the way they fit into the fabric, and that's very important. But we're doing it in more of an insertion type of scale as opposed to a larger scale enterprise.
All right. So as I see your strategy as an entrepreneur, one of the things that, and I know I've put myself in this spot more than once in my life, when you kind of get that visionary view of what's to come, how do you prevent from getting ahead of the market, or kind of getting what we used to call in the technology world the bleeding edge of things, and actually jump ahead of what the market's ready for? How have you been balancing that as a business owner?
Well, from a business perspective, I think what we would say is one is, it's when we have kind of our team meetings, and those kind of things, we spend time looking both at the white papers and hopefully the cutting edge of research and thought, and the opinions that are being leading the conversation, the current books and the current discussions that are hopefully out on the leading edge. And then at the same time, we're looking at our financial performance and our week over week returns, and our performance aspects that are affecting our day-to-day bottom dollar and the way we operate our business. And so I think, and then what you try to do is you try to plan both in between. You try to have a 1-day plan, a 1-week plan, a 1-month plan, a 1-year plan, and a 5-year plan. And I think all those things blend together. And I think what you try to understand is that you try to put forth a vision, and at the same time win the day. Right.
So do you find that you guys are trying to maybe help educate the market and move the market in this direction, or at the end of it all, as sort of that day-to-day entrepreneur, is your best hope to kind of keep up with where the market is taking you?
Well, I definitely hope we want to be leaders in the marketplace, and I think if you're going to have a strong vision, you want to help lead the marketplace. And I think the way we do that, and again, I think we lead, but it's a collaborative, it's a leading along with the community. It's sort of being a voice amongst many voices. And I think if you look to our website, our Invent website, we try to really focus on the communities, first of all, and so we really talk about not the house, but what the house is close to, what the amenities are, what the community is, what the fabric of that community is, all the dynamics of that community. And the other thing we talk about is we have an extensive kind of blog where we are talking about, articles that are just talking about Nashville, articles that are talking about trends that affect urban living, articles that talk about art, culture, music, things that would be impactful for us and hopefully impactful for the people who we would be living in our homes and sort of supporting our work.
Very cool. Well, I love the work you're doing, and look forward to seeing your fingerprints all over this community. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.